Alrighty, so what's this I hear about new patch notes? I didn't know that was a thing. I was sitting here on the treadmill. I mean, I know that they have patch notes, but I didn't know one came out while I was like literally on a treadmill trying to get in shape, man. I done got too big for myself. When I hurt my knees while sitting, you know it's time for you to hit the gym. But Path of Exile 2 has some new patch notes. We're going to take a look at it and see exactly what they're talking about and see exactly what's going on in the Path of Exile world. Let's take a look at it here. So let's go.
Hi, I'm Jonathan Rogers, Game Director on Path of Exile 2. Well, we're back from our break. We've been playing the game a whole lot and we've been reading a whole lot of feedback as well. So it's time to assess and work out what we're going to do next. Now, later this week we'll be releasing PoE 2 0.1.1. This is a patch designed to address the concerns that we can address relatively quickly without needing to create a new league or a new economy just yet. In this video we'll be going over some of the issues we've identified and what we're planning on doing about them. It's worth stressing that just because a specific issue isn't on this list doesn't mean that we're not aware of it or that it isn't going to get addressed. It just means that we either can't fix the problem quickly or we can't do so without the need for a new economy. One of the major areas that needs a lot of attention is the base experience of mapping. We've made a lot of changes here.
Okay, so in-game mapping has been absolutely awful, especially when you run a Titan. We had to learn teleport just to be good at it.
First, in-game maps have received a balance pass to the number of monsters, number of chests, number of magical rare monsters, number of essences, strongboxes, and precursor artifacts. You should generally find maps more rewarding than before. Maps generally specialize in one or more of these elements that they will be particularly rewarding in. Now, towers are a thing that's very important for players to run often, but we only had one of them. We wanted to add more variety here as soon as possible, so we've added 4 more tower maps. Alpine Ridge, Sinking Spire, Bluff, and Mesa.
It looks like so much fun.
We've also redone the existing Lost Towers map to make playing there less boring. We're now also spawning more maps with bosses. The rate was intended to be 1 in 4 maps, but in reality the rate was much lower due to some maps being unable to spawn bosses. We've increased the rate to compensate for this issue so that we can get the actually intended rate. We're also adding a new type of tablet that allows you to add bosses to your maps with its own mod pool. Strongboxes also need.
So that's freaking awesome. I know they're getting the strong boxes, but having boss maps is how you keep your tier 15 maps going, because you'll run a tier 15 dungeon and get a tier 1 map, which is absolutely ridiculous.
Needed some love. They now spawn monsters faster, have a less annoying fog effect, and have also received changes to the timings and effects of the mods on them.
What?
Now, let's talk about visibility of effects. Many maps had too much clutter,
Teleport!
preventing effects on the ground from rendering, causing you to be unable to see and dodge them. We've both changed the level of clutter on some maps and changed some effects to make sure that they are always visible. In addition, elemental explosion effects have had visibility improved, stick around for longer before they explode, and disappear without exploding if a rare monster dies. Volatile plants are also way easier to see before they explode. Now, we've also increased the zoom level on the Atlas, done a pass on various terrain collision issues in many maps. We've also improved the load times of opening the world map and Atlas panel.
What?
And we also now show the biome of a map on the hover for it. For other in-game content systems, we're focusing on getting all the rewards in line with what they should be. For Delirium, we recently fixed a bug which caused Delirium monsters to just not spawn after the starting part. And we've also buffed the rate of simulacrums dropping by 20% to make it more in line with the rate of finding the Expedition and Ritual bosses. For Ritual, we've made Omens now appear in the Ritual Tribute window 60% more often. For Expedition, we've improved the rarity from the shops, but we'll be wanting to make some more substantial changes to the rewards for this league later on.
Those are terrible.
Now, one of the major concerns that we're often seeing is that getting to play Pinnacle content just takes too long, and that when you do finally get there, you only get one attempt and don't get a chance to learn the boss.
Sirius, we're looking at you. 6 attempts is not enough to fight Sirius. Path of Exile 1. I'm sorry. I'm still hurt by that because that's what made me quit the first time.
In order to address these concerns, we're making the following changes. First, we're making the Citadel spawn closer to the center of the Atlas, and we've also added an effect so you can see them in the fog of war from further away. This makes them much easier to find. To address
I have haven't had a chance to find it yet. I have no idea where this thing is, and I don't like running maps because it's like you keep running maps over and over again, and you still don't know exactly where you're going. You can be going in the entirely wrong direction and not even know the actual difference of where it's supposed to be or where you're supposed to be at. I've been mapping for, I don't know, hours and hours and hours, and I have yet to find anything.
To address the problem of only having one attempt, on the Arbiter of Ash, you will now get up to 6 respawn attempts.
Oh, nice.
Respawns can only be triggered by the person who put in the keys, and everyone on your party will be respawned at the same time. Leaving the map still forfeits your attempt, so you'll still need to fight the boss with the build you walked into the map with. Higher difficulties of the boss will lower the number of respawn attempts you get, but you should know the mechanics of the fight by then, right? Now, we'll also be adding respawns to other Pinnacle content as well over time. Another thing that players have noticed is that there are less keys from Farad'n Citadels on the market, and thought that it was because the Citadel spawns less often. It turns out though that this is just because the boss kills players more often than the others. We've made a few changes to that boss to bring it in line with the other bosses. A lot of people have reported that many of our unique items are feeling underwhelming. Uniques are often designed to be build enabling at high levels, even if they're low level uniques. But we realized that we do need to make sure that more uniques feel powerful when you first get them at low levels too. In this patch, we are buffing a lot of uniques.
Okay, whoa. Okay, so let's look at it real quick here. So Blackbird, Fur Plate, trash. Armor applies elemental damage. Okay, and then they added some elemental resistances, made it a little bit stronger. Let me see if there's any gloves that I actually care about. Cast speed, the energy shield, spell damage. It's still, I mean, they're okay. I mean, let's see here. 15 to 16 physical thorns, reduce slowing potency of debuffs on you. I mean, you get that with block chance. And then 50% chance to inflict bleeding. Now, to be fair, if you're running a thorns, you don't necessarily need block chance, but you want to get hit, you know what I mean? And yeah, I mean, I'm looking. Regenerate 5% life per second while surrounded. I mean, can't evade enemy attacks. 250% of melee physical damage taken reflected to the attacker. So you basically run and reflect on that build. And let's see. Okay, they gave attack speed to the hammer, but nobody's running a one-handed mace if you can just run God's Blood or Golden Blood, God's Blood, I think it's what it's called. And then all damage from hits with this weapon contributes to freeze buildup. And then Culling Strike. Okay, so it gave it a critical hit chance, but maces suck anyway. So a 10% critical hit chance is useless. I mean, 10%, you don't, there's no crit in the tree, bro. Like at the beginning of the tree, there literally is no crit. So I don't know what's the point. Like you don't run into crit until at the towards the end, and that's only after a war cry. So you literally get no crit. Like there's no crit in the window whatsoever. So I'm not exactly sure what's the point. But I mean, hey, we're talking about, newer characters and newer characters having some abilities, because obviously you don't have Golden's Blood or God's Blood or whatever it's called at the beginning of the game. And a one-handed mace may be good if you want to run a shield, but nobody runs a shield in the beginning of the game. You just run a two-handed mace so you can do as much damage as possible before the boss kills you.
These changes should make finding uniques at lower levels a lot more fun, and make subsequent character playthroughs more fun too when you have some great uniques to use.
I'm just checking to see if there's anything crazy good. No, they're buffed by like 10%. You know what I mean? It's like the 40-90 versus the 50-90. Shots fired.
We're also changing a few other things to make finding rares better at higher levels too. First, we're changing mod weightings a bit to make sure that there are less bad mods. Another fix is making high tier items no longer cull the highest tier modifier of a given mod type. This bug caused bows and crossbows to not spawn with attack speed at tier 5 rarity, and rings to not spawn with life at tier 5 rarity. Another change we're making is to make it so that socketables such as runes can now be overwritten with another socketable.
You know how badly we needed this? Oh my god, yes, let's go. Oh my goodness. Okay, I have Warrior Invictus and I have Chaos in it, but you can technically change that now to like rarity of items found if you can find 5 Escapas, you know what I mean? So that is absolutely amazing. I am so happy they did that. I've been needing to do this for forever. That way you can fix your resistances in gear that you really, really liked, but it had bad stuff in it. Like for example, the strength to dexterity, dexterity to intelligence, intelligence to strength, those kind of things. We put those in there and they did nothing to the actual requirements of the weapons or armor, and that bricked the item. Now we can go back and use them again. Very, very good stuff, GGG.
Now, as we continue to play, we still find many balance anomalies with specific monsters or bosses that can be nasty if you encounter them. This patch contains a pass adjusting a large number of those monsters and bosses. We'll save the full list for the patch notes, but there are a significant number of changes here that should address many cases where monsters or bosses felt too hard in certain circumstances. Here are a few examples to get a taste of what kind of changes you can expect. The Silver Fist Commander roll now does a lot less damage. Plague Bearer's Detonate Dead can no longer be used from off-screen and has better telegraphing. Forsaken Miners throw less grenades, have improved visuals, and deal less damage.
Hey.
And Lost Men Zealots can no longer meteor you from off-screen either, as well as many other changes just like those. One of the big issues for players on consoles is that the web-based item filter system is currently not working. This means that they can't use item filters like the PC users can. The 0.1.1 will be enabling the same system that PoE 1 has, which allows you to subscribe to item filters on the website. For now, this will be done on the PoE 1 website to allow us to get this feature out as fast as possible. Later on, we'll improve the user experience of this and put it on the Path of Exile 2 website. This patch also contains a bunch of other smaller changes and bug fixes that I'm sure you guys will appreciate, like buffing armor and scavenged plating. Showing the
Oh my god, buffing armor and scavenge plating. Maybe we don't have to run into Go Energy Shield now because we have enough armor. So, you know, I got like 10 points in Energy Shield, bro. Like, I would love to give it to armor if armor didn't suck.
Number of uses left in your charms, as well as an effect when they trigger.
Oh, nice.
The song of the Exiles.
Fixing the music that Una was supposed to play in town.
Hey, let's go. I didn't know that was a thing. I'm never here.
And plenty of other little fixes and improvements throughout the game. Now, we have a huge amount of much more meta-shifting changes that we know we want to make. And one of the best things about having the game in early access with the endgame is that we now have a much better idea of where we want character power to be and what the balance of bosses and monsters should be relative to that. But those types of changes are going to have to wait until we are ready to make a new league with a new economy for people to play in. That's still a little while away yet, but in the meantime, we'll be continuing to identify things that are causing frustration and try and address them. I want to thank you guys for playing and hope to be doing more of these in the future. Later.
All right. So one, they didn't mention anything about how overpowered things are. So, you know, like for example, Herald of Ice and, you know, the explosion. I think they were like, hey, you know what? Titans have had it bad. We saw your video in a tickle of Saket, you know, so, you know, we know that Titans have had it rough. So, well, let's give them a W for like the next few months until we take it away. So, you know, I think that overall, this is actually one of the greatest kind of updates that they've had in a long time, particularly when it comes to mapping, because mapping has been absolutely awful. I mean, we gain teleport, we gain rolls, and we can move now. But at the same time, I still don't like mapping. Mapping kind of sucks, man. It's just because there's not a whole lot you can really do because you don't know where you're going. There is 1,000 different locations that you can go in and you don't know which location to go in to find it. You literally have to farm it. I would much rather farm Trial Master, or I'd much rather farm, you know, ultimatums. You know, I would rather do that because it's more fun and it's more rewarding than to farm maps, because maps you'll go and you'll get like one exalt. Like it was just silly. You know what I mean? Like, or you may run into a situation where you get some crazy modifier and it just breaks your build. And you're like, okay, now I spent, you know, 1 hour on getting destroyed and another 4 hours trying to figure out how to fix the issue that just happened that won't happen again unless you roll those particular mods. So them actually changing the mapping system is absolutely awesome, and being able to see where these guys are, because I have no idea. So, you know, that way we don't have to go halfway across the map in order to figure this out, because I have yet to fight the Arbiter of Ash. One, because I didn't have any actual damage on me to actually take on a boss. I had damage to take on ads, but not a boss. Now I can take on a boss just fine. So I'll be going after him now that, you know, he's actually really good. But now we can kind of really get into it and see how good armor really is. So overall, I'm very happy about it. I wanted to kind of keep this short and sweet. But yeah, these are all the updates that are coming out in the patch notes. I hope everybody's having a good day. And that's going to do it for today's episode. Thank you guys so much for watching. And if you like this video, go to like, but if you really like it, I'm going to subscribe. I love you either way. Take care. All the best. And bye. Here, and here is where all the other videos are. And you guys have a good one. Peace.